Once professionals had held a strategy meeting and discussed the incident in a multi-agency rapid review meeting, the local authority made the decision to notify the Child Safeguarding Practice Review Panel that it was likely that the baby had been seriously injured. The panel confirmed the Safeguarding Partnership's decision to undertake a local child safeguarding practice review. It used to be a serious case review before the Working Together guidance was revised. An independent person was appointed by the partnership to review the circumstances of the incident. Each agency was asked to prepare a case chronology, and professionals involved with the family were interviewed. The reviewer also spoke to the parents and children for everyone to hear their views. The criminal investigation into the cause of the serious injury took place alongside the review. The report was presented to the professionals and family before it was approved by the Safeguarding Partnership. The conclusions and key learning points were: the school didn't have access to records from the previous school, as they hadn't been transferred after the family was recently rehoused. The health visitor recorded that the mother struggled with low moods and found it hard to bond with the baby, and that the children's father had moved out. But this information was not passed on to children's social care. The health visitor had assumed that the social worker already knew this and thought it was positive that the father had moved out, as he had been violent towards the children's mother in the past. There were more missing pieces to the jigsaw, in that the probation service had records of the father being charged with GBP and serving time in prison before moving into the area. The baby had first presented with bruising and suspected rib fracture when 9 weeks old. A medical investigation followed, but decided by the hospital that he could be discharged back home, as there was not conclusive evidence of non-accidental injury. This was challenged by the social worker and the team manager, but further medical tests showed that there was nothing abnormal. The reviewer recommended that the multi-agency escalation procedure was reviewed, as the concern should have been escalated to senior management in the hospital and children's social care. It was also recommended to urgently hold a multi-agency meeting to resolve professional disagreement when there was a risk of actual or like harm to a pre-mobile baby. The school told the reviewer that the father had become challenging and evasive when they wanted to discuss their concerns about his son's repeated attendance problems. The explanations didn't seem plausible, especially as the boy had said that he didn't like not coming to school. The reviewer found that none of the professionals had engaged with the father, and therefore it was not known that he experienced mental health problems. He told the reviewer that he had struggled to cope with the children for a long time, but it all got too much when the baby was born. In the end, he felt the only option was to move out, but felt guilty about leaving the children and was missing them a lot. Keeping children safe involves working in complex and multifaceted situations. Professionals frequently encounter challenging or angry behaviour by parents or carers. Disguised compliance, rather than a genuine willingness to improve the situation for the child, is not unusual. In extreme cases, professionals can experience intimidation, abuse, threats, or actual violence, which can make them scared to raise concerns about the child in their contacts with families. Frontline staff rely on support from within the organisations and regular reflective supervision. Support from the wider professional network is also essential. Safeguarding is everyone's business, and no one can manage a case on their own. Staff also often need therapeutic space when they have been involved in child safeguarding incidents. It is not uncommon that staff at the front line blame themselves for situations that clearly were beyond their control. The child's welfare should remain paramount at all times, and remember, safeguarding is everyone's responsibility. Not sharing information or collecting and giving evidence in the courts can potentially cost children's lives. We need to do all we can to keep children safe, and it starts with us taking the time to understand children's lived experience of abuse, neglect, and what it is that makes them vulnerable to exploitation. Keep listening to the voice of the child and use the 10 principles to guide your practice, actions, and decision-making to help prevent further serious injuries or deaths happening to any of the children or young people that you come into contact with.